Good morning. And by good morning, I mean good afternoon. Um, we're here. We're back. Hi. So, I have a thing I have to use up. We're using it up today. I'm streaming today because I absolutely have to use it up. Also because I want to stream on Mondays. Jay, hi, welcome in. You're just in time. I'm literally just starting, which you of course know because you're here watching me just start. It's amazing how this works. Let me show you what I have. I have a piece of pork belly that needs to be used because it's been sitting around for a couple of days. It, of course, was super fresh when I got it. This one was not a bargain bin thing. And I wrapped it up, but we do have to use it. So we're going to use this today. I received it as a gift on my birthday because I went to a shabu shabu dinner for a different event that happened to be on my birthday, and we only used half of the pork belly, so I got to take the other half home. But yes, it's been in there for. It was fresh that it was frozen up till that day, and it has been in my chill box since then. So it's been 4 days. So we're probably pushing the limit on it, I think. So we absolutely have to use it. Now I'm not, of course, gonna. It's not a piece of beef. I'm not gonna have it pink in the middle. So we're not gonna run into any sort of safety issues. In fact, we're gonna cook the heck out of it because I want it to be just fall apart tender. We're gonna get it started first. I was given a recipe, and the recipe is entirely in French. It is Japanese braised pork, but the entire recipe is in French. And I don't speak French, but I can kind of work out what the things are. So I'm kind of following a recipe. The recipe's from The Social Food on Instagram. Um, Also, I moved this camera, so I wanted to. That's. Eh. I moved the tripod, so I just moved it back just now, so I needed to reset all my things. Good enough. Let's pop over yonder, grab us a board, and unwrap this beastie. Now this is quite a bit. I'm going to cook all of it. Oh, been leaking its juices a little bit. I'm going to cook all of it because I think we're at the point where I shouldn't be preserving any of it any longer. But it's definitely more than I can eat in one go. So I guess I'll have leftovers. Thankfully, cooking the way I'm going to, I think, does hold quite well. Oh, shabu shabu was great. It wasn't here at the house, so I wasn't, and obviously wasn't the only person there, so I wasn't really in a position to show it off. I don't really want to out all my friends on the old socials here. Why am I running? Okay, this isn't even a sharp knife. It's really fun. If you get a chance, or do it yourself, all you need is a pot and a hot plate and ingredients. So this is also it's a bit of a fatty piece. So this is going to be really decadent. It's about an inch thick, so I want to cut them into roughly into cubes. Um, that was actually my first time having shabu shabu as well, although I've heard of it before. Now, ideally, you do this with a single stroke. But my knife's not quite long enough for that. But we should have now nice individual. Oh, nope, nope. We don't. They accordioned together. Okay, we will. Is the second layer still stuck together? A little bit. Not as bad. No, some of them aren't. Some of them are. Okay. And then this one should be not at all. Good. Okay, these are our little cubes. Look at that. Just beautiful. Some of them are a little bit more fat than some of these other ones, but they all are really beautiful. This is from a local butcher as well, which means it's much nicer than a lot of the meat I usually work with, although the price was very decent. Kombu. Kombu, I actually have some kombu. We can use kombu to, in fact, I will use kombu today. I have some, I can show you. It is a seaweed, yes. But it's not probably the one you're familiar with. It's not like nori, those thin, crispy sheets of seaweed. It's a thick. Let's see, where is my? I'm gonna need it. Oh, I only have one. Two. I only have a little bit left. But I can show it off. I actually have some on hand. So this is what it's like when you. I actually have 3 pieces. This is what it's like when you buy it. They're these dried up little like strips. These things are hard and pretty inedible as is. And you simmer these in water to make the kombu broth, and it extracts the flavor from these things into the liquid. And then you can either toss these out or, and I'm probably going to do this, slice them up real thin, and you can use them like a vegetable. They don't have a lot of flavor, but they have an interesting texture. Dulce. Okay, well, I'm not familiar with dulce, but I suspect it's also different from kombu. I've heard the word dulce. We're getting out the big cast iron, which I think all of those will fit in, and we're going to get it nice and hot. We're going to give these guys a sear on all sides in the hot cast iron. And while that's heating up, I will assemble our broth ingredients, because we're going to braise this in a broth that I guess we're supposed to thicken as well. I don't think it's going to. I'm going to use the Instant Pot so that this does not take a million hours to do. Because between all the other prep, it would take an hour and a half of just simmering. So we're going to use the Instant Pot to speed it up, but then I think I'm going to have to reduce my sauce because things don't reduce really well in the pressure thing. Red seaweed. Oh, like a chip, like a crisp. They do that with nori crisps, and you can do that with. You can make those yourself if you buy store-bought nori. Nori being. Ooh, do I have any nori? I did. It's under the onion. It's a little bit beat up. Nori being this kind of seaweed. These the sheets that you would see on like a sushi. We're going to slide the meat over here. while it waits for that pan to heat up. I am going to use some kombu. Now this is in French, so it's asking me for 30 milliliters of sake, 150 milliliters of dashi, 1 kombu algae, 10 grams sweet roux, I think. It's 10 grams de sucre roux. Sucre roux. I don't know what that is. 10 milliliters of, gotta be soy sauce. Light soy sauce. 10 milliliters of mirin. Ooh. I think I bought a new mirin. My mirin bottle is very low, but I think I have a spare. Yes, I do. Okay, we got plenty of mirin. The pork, ginger, green onions, 3 green onions, ouf mole, 7 minutes of ouf mole. 7-minute boiled egg. Okay. I'm not sure about that one. Ciboule fraîche. What is ciboule? Oh, chives. And pickled mustard. I know that one, but I don't have that. So, kombu, I have not much, but I have some granulated dashi, so we can do proper dashi. I have just a dribble of mirin left, but there's a fresh one in the wine cupboard. Also just a dribble of sake, but again, I don't need much, so I think that's going to be fine. What is sucre roux? You asking the internet what these words are. It's just sugar. It's French sugar, which I guess is a special type of sugar. White sugar? No, red sugar. I don't know. Sugar. We're using some sugar. That's fine. That's what I expected. It's supposed to be like a sweet thing. Ooh, that'd be a good opportunity to use a different sugar, actually. We could go with either a brown sugar or a maple sugar. Either way, I gotta start assembling. Let's use the larger pot. Let's use the larger pot. Do this right over here, because it's all gonna simmer together. Okay, so I don't know how much pork I have. Honestly, I have no idea how much that is. It's about half of a 2-pound block, so it's about a pound. This asks for a kilogram, which is about 2 pounds, so half of it, I don't know. Probably don't even need the big one. I'm going to switch to the small one. Clatter around for a bit. Okay. So we're just going to eyeball it, really. Some dashi granules. I'm going to just kill that bottle. Crack open the extra one, or the next one. I haven't really learned about mirin brands, but I have learned that you really want, when buying mirin, to get the alcoholic kind, which we have here. It really makes a difference in the taste. We're going to kill this sake. Oh, well, let me tell you. Mirin is a Japanese sweet, it's a thick, like it's a reduced sweet rice wine. Sake is, of course, a dry rice wine. Dashi, and what I have here is hondashi, so it's bonito based. Dashi is the broth that is used as the basis for a lot of like soupy things, Japanese soupy things. If you've ever had miso soup is dashi with miso added to the broth. There are different kinds of dashi. We're actually kind of making our own dashi because one of the kinds of dashi is kombu based, one of the kinds is bonito based, one of the kinds is mushroom based, one of the kinds I think is shrimp or anchovy based. And since I'm throwing a kombu in with our dashi here, I'm kind of adding one type of dashi to another type of dashi. And of course, they all have their own names. Hondashi is specifically the kind made with bonito. And they all have different names, and they all have different names depending on the combo of things that you've made them with. And we will have to simmer this. You know what? I'm going to go for an all of the above on this one. I also have the ginger that we're going to need a little bit later. Oh, you know what? I have enoki as well. Enoki's not going to be used for making the broth, but I don't need to open those either. So on top of the things that it actually called for, I'm going to throw in two shiitake mushrooms. And if I can find them, and I might not be able to, I have some frozen dehydrated anchovies in here somewhere. I think they got buried because I didn't use them very often. So I will skip on those. I think that's all the parts here. We're going to have to simmer this because we want the mushrooms and the kombu to hydrate, and then we need to fish them out. So I will pop that on medium low. We want a little simmer on it. I don't want it to go too fast. And while it is getting its little simmer on, let's bump the brightness a little bit since I am using the black pan here, and we want to be able to see at least a little bit. We are slightly blown out, but that's fine. It'll make the black more visible, because that pan, although you can't see it, is hot. Make sure that whenever you bring plastic over to the cutting board, make sure that the exact spot you are setting it down is not hot, or you will destroy both the plastic and the thing you have set it down on. Not a good time. So I think our pan might actually be slightly too hot, so I'm going to take it down just a smidge. But I'm going to start getting these guys in it on the fat side first. And we are going to do all 6 sides on them. The fat side is going to help lubricate the pan a little bit. The ones that were the end where it was kind of sloped are going to be slightly harder to do on the fat side here. Smells like, I will say, pork at this stage, just plain old pork sitting in its own hot fat, is not the nicest smell in the world. It gets nicer as it develops, but okay, these guys are going to kind of, okay, they're already sticking, which they're supposed to. Don't worry about the sticking, they're supposed to. I just wish I had spaced them a little bit better. Well, at least you got it off. I've seen the horror stories of, like, take the nylon board, put it on the hot burner, and then let it sit there, and it melts, binds up with the coil, and catches fire, and then you're just done. You're just done with it then. Both the coil and the board are just toast. Okay, so we are watching. I don't know how well you can see between them, but they are rendering out quite a bit of the fat, and we're watching to see if they hopefully let go. And I am going to get our little scraper out to ensure that they do. Because we're not cooking them through at this stage, we are just cooking them to sear the sides. It also means I need a plate to catch them on when they're done. How you doing there, bud? It's trying to let go. Oop, aha. So when they let go, they should. They are, in fact, letting go, which is what I wanted them to do. Yeah, there you go, there you go. That one wanted to stick. But so, in general, Cybertraz. Hi, welcome in. work in plastic extrusion. I have worked in a plastic place as well. What we have currently, we are making, it is called pork braised à la japonaise, which I think is French for Japanese braised pork. I have a French recipe that I don't speak French. So in the back corner we have a dashi broth coming together with kombu, some mushrooms, some dashi granules. I didn't put the sugar in, but we'll put the sugar in. We're going to add more to that anyways. So we're forming a broth back there. We're going to braise the pork in that. And the thing in the front that you see is pork belly, which I received from a generous friend of mine as a leftover from our shabu shabu on my birthday. And I'm getting them all seared. Because of course when you braise something, it I'm gonna move everything slightly closer to your side because the fat wants to pool on that side and they don't sear as well when they're resting in the liquid fat. We'll use the fat for something else later, but I'm gonna leave sort of a gap on that side so that things can have a little bit more just straight up metal contact. It's smelling much nicer as well. We have, right when you get raw pork hot, I think it has a really unpleasant smell. It doesn't last very long, but just for a moment, just for a brief time. So that's what we're doing. We're and honestly, they're going pretty fast too. We're getting these guys. So that's what we're doing. We're getting these guys seared up on all the sides. So that when we braise them, they have a nice seared outside to them. For the bonus flavor. Oh, and an ad snuck up on me. I suppose I don't need this plate, although the plate now has speckles of pork fat on it, so I have to wash it regardless. But I suppose I don't need that plate since I'm going to put it in the magic pot when they come off of the thing anyways. I'll just put them directly in the magic pot. So this process is going pretty quickly. Which is good. And I am going to have to sort of assemble a team of accoutrements to go with this. The Avengers Assemble of foods. And these will all be raw in the middle when I take them off of here as well, just because of the nature of we're not leaving them in here long enough. And I think our ad is over. I keep getting distracted. Badoosh. No, the ad is... What? Wow. The ad trackers are so out of sync, I don't know if the ad is playing now or not. Probably not, but... bizarre. Get our mushrooms flipped so that they get immersed in our broth. An ad about 1 to 2 minutes ago. Okay, well, the ad trackers disagree, and they all think different times. So, I wish Twitch would get their ads together. If they want us to play ads, that's hot. If they want us to play ads, they should make it consistent. Okay, the guys here are not going to want to stand up on their bottoms now that all the other sides are cooked. But we might be able to convince some of them to stay long enough to pick up some color if we lean them into each other a little bit. You could skip this step in cooking pork. You won't get a sear on the outside. But I've done just braised pork before, and it works fine. I'm kind of making them lean up against each other so they can hold each other up. Anton, hi, welcome in. We're just about ready to take these guys out and move them to the magic pot where they will await our braising liquid. Oof. Oop, ah. This part is very splashy. Yeah, I think we're going to start pulling. We'll keep one of the more browned sides up for each one so that it can peek out of the braising liquid a little bit, hopefully. Oop, and that one's very brown. Okay. Take the heat off on that pan. We will return to it in a short bit. Here are our chunks of pork belly. What are we making? We are making braised. We're making. I'm going to copy this. We are making this, which is French, I'm pretty sure. I don't speak French, but I believe it's French for Japanese braised pork. I have a recipe that's entirely in French that I'm loosely following. Cybertraz wants to know, how keen am I on making international dishes? Depends what you mean by international. And yes, also the answer is yes. I live in neither France nor Japan. Well, this would be served with rice. So at the very least, we're going to have some kind of a starch underneath it, either rice or noodles or something. But while this is braising, we're doing it in a pressure pot. So while this is braising, I will have plenty of time to come up with accoutrements to go with it. So we're going to set this right into the pressure pot. Oh, that wasn't pork fat. That was a drop of mirin. Mmm, tasty. So let's get back over to the stove. Get out a pot holder. Move this pan out of the way. Bring our braise to the front. I am from the US. I live in Wisconsin, so north central United States. That's where I'm located. So our mushrooms have rehydrated and will have contributed flavor to our juice. And our kombu has become quite a bit larger. Remember, this was just one of those little pieces and gone floppy. Now, if you cook it with everything else in your soup, it just kind of turns into mush. So there's a lot of people from Sweden here on Twitch, I've noticed. But I don't know how to pronounce that. I'll give it a shot. Fläsksteg. Fläsksteg? Roasted pork served with crackling potatoes and parsley sauce. Parsley sauce. That sounds interesting. Okay, my one board has meat on it, so we're using the other board, which I washed, so it is clean, but it is also over there on the drying area. So we don't need the kombu to simmer any longer. Once it is in this opened up soft state, it's done with what it's going to do. And the mushrooms, I want to make sure I squeeze the juice out of them. Okay. These will be part of our accoutrements for sure. And for reference, Jay was asking about kombu at the start. That is one piece of kombu hydrated up, and this was how it started out. Shriveled up little stick. In this state, it imparts sort of a gentle brininess to the broth. And in this condition, it has very little flavor, but it has an interesting texture. It's soft, but it has just a little bit of crunch, kind of like a lightly cooked green bean, if you're familiar. The mushrooms are fully hydrated at this point, and I think I might throw them in the braise with the pork just to infuse more flavor, because it's not like they're gonna be destroyed. This would turn to complete mush if I threw it in there. We're gonna take a piece of ginger as well. knife. And I am not peeling the ginger. You may peel the ginger if you so desire. I don't see the point, especially for something like this. We're going to take the handful of ginger, and we're going to throw that. We're going to throw that in our broth. You know what? I'm going to grab a clove of garlic as well. This thing wants... That's way more ginger than it calls for, but I like ginger. This thing wants green onions. I kind of want to throw in a clove of garlic. Ugh. I have a brand new head, so I have to break open the outer. And by brand new, I mean this is an old one, but it hasn't been used yet. So some of these cloves are going to be a little deflated because they have been in there for a couple months. But eh. Let's see if any of these cloves still look good in here. Oh, these are hard to open. I wanted this one, which is good because that was the one that just started breaking open. It looks fine. Sometimes garlics, when they sit in there long enough, they start to sort of... The clove inside the paper starts to dry up. We're going to take the little nub off that and then give it just a couple of coarse slices. And I also broke the paper on the one next to it, so I'm going to fish that guy out as well. Just because once they're exposed, once a garlic clove is exposed like that, it does not keep as well. The ones in this chunk... Oh, okay, I exposed one in there too. We'll get that one out as well. The ones in the chunk that broke off, though, for the most part, aren't exposed, so I am going to just leave them in there. And likewise, take the little pieces off the ends. You know, there's one in there. We could turn this garlic into a topping. I'm going to hang on to that. I'm going to take the little bud end off of both of them and throw that in our pot. But otherwise, I'm going to save the middles, and we're going to make something. Ugh, that one needs slightly more trim. We're going to make something with those guys. Okay. Okay, so a few extra chunks go in there. I don't know how garlic is going to change this. I don't know what it was supposed to taste like. Just kind of following my nose. My nose said garlic, like it usually does. Clean up our garlic papers. Green onion. Now I have some green onions, so I guess I'll throw them in there. Let's see. This is now cool enough that I don't have to worry about handling it. These guys are still warm, but again, don't have to worry about handling them. That one, they're a little bit shriveled up on the ends here, so those are the ones I'm going to go for. I'm going to take the shriveled ends and the root ends off. tell you one thing that I think is missing from this, and it's probably better to do it as a topping anyways, so we will think about that when we get there. There's nothing spicy in this. It's all gentle flavors. It's almost like a tea that we're constructing more than a soup. Which is interesting. Oop, I dropped 2 onion pieces. That's unfortunate. Let's see. Pro tip, keep the floor in your kitchen as clean as possible so when you drop stuff, you can pick that stuff back up. I'm adding some water, but I think I boiled off more than I originally intended. But we should taste our broth. Ooh. Ooh. Ooh, that's so good. Oh, that's wow. I need to translate. Okay, I was correct. Light soy sauce. Oh, but it's I almost don't want to add soy sauce to this at this point. It's light and herbal, and it's faintly oceany but very savory, but like super light. We are going to add our soy sauce, and it wants soy sauce. It's already got the mirin. We're going to add the sugar. We're going to add soy sauce, but I'm going to go light on it. I don't want much because I think that we have a very good flavor going. And it does need a little bit of salt, but it does not need a ton. And I would rather err less in this case because the flavor is so nice. I know we're going to need some salt when we get to the part where we put it on the pork. And since it is so light, I'm going to go with just white sugar, since I don't want to interrupt those flavors with molasses or maple, which I was talking about doing earlier. But darn it, you impressed me, Liquid. Oh, it's super nice. That would make an excellent just like soup, like a starting course soup. Maybe with just a few of those green onions floating in it and like a piece of tofu. That was just heavenly. Okay. That being said, this goes off and gets poured into our magic pot. Which I don't have a good angle on. I've never managed to devise a good angle to show off the magic pot. Using chopsticks to make sure that the ginger and onion pieces are not resting on top of any of our meats. I can haul the pot out, bring it over, and show you what we're working with. Here's what we're working with. George Hot Sauce. Hi, welcome. Give me a sec. My hands are gross, and I will give you the old shout out. George, welcome, welcome. Shout out. If you're unfamiliar, George streams here on Twitch and does, from what I've seen, all cooking. What we've got going here is pork belly that I've seared the surface on. We put it in the magic pot here, and the liquid is a dashi broth of bonito, shiitake mushroom, kombu, and then you can see the ginger, green onions, and somewhere in there are some sliced garlics floating around in it, and some sugar. And we're about to put that thing in to braise in my pressure pot. And this is how you should do a braise, with the pieces sort of poking above the liquid. Doing this in an oven would take a couple hours. And you'd have to keep an eye on it to make sure that your water didn't simmer away in the process. The magic pot, of course, seals. I can't haul the magic pot over to show it off. Pop up to the thing. It lives over here because it's the only place I could find to put it. It's a Ninja brand Instant Pot. Lock. Oh, and it has an instruction book that I always want to reference for times, because I don't have the times memorized yet. Where did I put that instruction book? Oh, I moved it. Oh, I moved it. We've overshot a few times, and stuff comes out good, but so tender that it just wants to disintegrate in your hands, which might be fine, honestly. Where did I put the instruction book? It's been right here for months, and now I moved it, and now I don't know where I moved it to. Ooh, I reorganized that shelf. Well, it won't burn. It just will disintegrate to the point where you can't fish them out in one piece. So, hang on. I gotta find this instruction book just to grab the time. It's probably going to be 15 minutes in there, plus pressure up, pressure down time. Where did I put it? How could I possibly have... Oh, this is embarrassing too, because George just got here. And I was going to show off my... I found it. I found it. I found it. The instructions. Just because I don't have the times for things like this memorized yet. I'm not used to this thing entirely. Let's see. Pork belly isn't even a thing in here. 1-inch pieces. 25 minutes. That's beef short ribs. Pork butt. This is belly. And we got it started a little bit with the sear, so I'm going to give it 20. That seems high, based on past experience and the fact that it's belly. Let's give it 15. And make sure our vent is sealed. And yeah, okay, cool. Set food on fire and then order pizza. I'm more in the realm of ruin something and then pull it back from the brink, make it edible. Rarely will I toss something out. I feel like this camera is... Let me get you guys away from that camera when I rub off the lens. I feel like I got some schmutz on the lens. Because there's this line over here. I should have a cleaning wipe handy. Now we have a little bit of time to think, slow down, chill, because that thing, although I set it for 15 minutes, it has to pressure up and then it has to pressure down. So it's not just that it's going to be ready in 15 minutes. That should be nice and clear. Yeah, okay, I had schmutz on the lens. Okay, what are we making to go with our pork belly? Since it's not just going to be pork belly in a bowl. Obvious answer is rice. But I don't just want a bowl of rice with pork on top, as delicious as that would be. That's not what I'm going for. I want to use the drippings here. Now, the official recipe calls for pickled mustard seed, which I do not have, and doesn't sound Japanese at all, and a 7-minute boiled egg. I have eggs. We could boil an egg. But do I want an egg with this? Oh, let me look at their little video for real quick. I'm not showing you their video. We have an ad. Good time for me to do nonsense. I have some... Oh, there's this dark brown. Mine was not really that brown. Oh, and they didn't... Oh, and they didn't put green onion in. They put half of a whole white onion in. Interesting differences. Well, ours is locked. They served theirs with some cooked greens and some pickled ginger. And I don't see the egg anywhere, so I'm going to ignore the egg. But I have some slightly aged... You guys are on that wrong side. We have some baby bok choys that are turning a little bit yellow on the tips. So probably should use those. I have enoki mushrooms that might work here. I'm going to keep them in mind. It calls for an egg, and then it doesn't actually include the egg in the final plating on their thing. So, I don't know. I have a bunch of different kinds of mushrooms, actually. We could do mushrooms. I like the idea of the bok choy. I wanted to make garlic crisps in the pork fat. That might be fun. So the bok choy is not going to take very long. I want to some of them are looking okay with just a little bit of yellow edges. Some of them are looking not so great. So we'll have to pick through and find the ones that are a little bit nicer. But bok choy doesn't take very long. And let's see if we can't make some crisped garlics without them sticking to the pan. We'll do them first. Oh, if I'm going to do that, I should put the heat on my pan again. Oh yeah, I suppose I never ask for. Well, I do sometimes when I'm just waffling around. I hardly ever ask the audience for ideas, even though the audience has given me, of their own volition, some great ideas. Like that piece. We're going to pitch that piece. I should have thrown that one in the braised liquid. Thinly sliced the extra garlics, and I'm going to, we're heating the rendered pork fat back up, and I'm going to attempt there to crisp them without burning them. Bok choy rice. I should do rice. So while my pork fat is reheating, we're going to let the rice cooker do the rice for me while I'm thinking about other stuff. Pork belly bowl with vegetables and rice. I think that's where I was headed. And then the braising liquid from the pork can be our sauce, but I'll have to reduce it a bit. It's nearly up to pressure. So that should kick in really quick. Similar. Bookwoman, hi. What's cooking? At the moment, we have in the pressure pot some pork belly that I seared off in the pan that you see in front of you. There's the beep, 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 which means we're up to pressure, so the pressure cook is engaging. It is in there with a liquid of dashi. No, you can hang out. I don't use the chat functions very much. The liquid is dashi, the granulated dashi, to which I added kombu, shiitake mushrooms, ginger, garlic, sugar, sake, mirin, and some soy sauce to make like a soup. And it was really, I actually added only a little bit of soy sauce right at the end because the flavor before that was really nice. It was almost like a savory tea. It was really a really gorgeous light soup flavor. I didn't want to go crazy with the salt because it was so nice. So now I'm getting some rice started because we're going to serve this over rice. talking about the vegetables that we're going to serve this with. And the first thing up that we're going to attempt is, because we have hot fat there and our pork drippings, or the hot fat is our pork drippings. We have our fresh pork drippings from the belly there in the pan. I'm going to attempt to crisp up some garlic to make a topping without burning it. And then I almost forgot to do the rice. So we're working off of a recipe from the social food that was sent to me, and the recipe is entirely in French for a Japanese dish. So I'm kind of following what it's telling me to do, but it's in French. Where did I get the pork belly? The pork belly was a gift to me on my birthday. Because there was extra from the shabu shabu that we had on my birthday. So for once, it's not bargain bin anything. It was fresh pork belly. Although now it's been sitting around for a few days, so we have to use it up. Yeah, somebody brought pork belly for the shabu shabu, and there was extra, and he did not want to take it home. So I laid claim to it. So it's hard to tell. These guys are gently sizzling. So look at the backs of them. Nope. No, I knocked the eye out of that one. Back in there. Eye. Nope, that one's going to be weird. So we're frying them. We're kind of deep frying them because the fat on this side is just deep enough for those thin slices to float. The other side is starting to smoke. So we're running the gauntlet on pan here. And then we were talking about vegetables to use in it, and I have some baby bok choys, so I'm thinking some baby bok choys. I have a couple of scallions. We're going to use the shiitake and the kombu from the dashi as vegetable toppings as well. There's not much of either of them, but they will be a nice sort of contrast. Oop. And I am already losing track of these guys. Some of them are immediately going rather brown, which is what I want, but I have to watch it because garlic, as we know, burns fast once it starts to go. I think this is working, though. I think this is working. Yeah, that guy's... They're hard to pick up. And the heat coming off the pan hurts my hand a little bit. The garlic burns so quickly because it is very sugary. It doesn't taste very sugary, but it is quite sugary. If I was more serious about this, I would be carefully temperature controlling it instead of just winging it like this. But I think we're good on that front. Okay. We're gonna pop back over here. We're gonna leave the heat on. Keep our garlic crispies. Yes, garlic, that's why garlic burns so easily. It's got a lot of sugar in it that you can't really taste because of all the strong other flavor compounds in it. But it makes sense. The reason the garlic plant grows the garlic bulb is as energy storage. It's a bulb so that the garlic can re-sprout. I'm going to change my mind and turn that off because I'm going to do other things temporarily. And that's what plants eat. They eat sugar. Okay, so I want to freshen up the mushrooms here a little bit as well. So we're having the heat down on the pan, although we're keeping it hot. And we're going to try to get a little bit of an improvement on the mushroom texture. Mau's meat, red braised pork belly. Okay, these guys we have to keep an eye on because I don't want these to go hard or stick, which they will try to do one of those things if I let them hang around. These are the shiitake mushrooms that we used in the broth. So they've been slightly extracted. Oh, they smell so good. Oh, they smell so good. It's a little smoky in here. I've noticed it. I don't know if you can tell on the cameras. It's a little bit smoky in here from this cast iron running so long. I think all of my stuff's going to be done before my rice is. Again, my pan is slightly tilted because my stovetop is slightly tilted away from you guys. So the oil wants to pool on that side. So for frying, I'm pushing things over there. And if I want more of a sear, I can push them on the other side. These are picking up some color really very nice and quick. So I think I will pull them out and put them in a little bowl as well. Yeah, I'm also curious about how Mao's meat tasted. I might be convinced to give it a go. Popping back over here. The kombu. This stuff, as I mentioned before, not a lot of flavor. It's kind of... Have you ever had a fruit roll-up? This is like a fruit roll-up, except it tastes like the ocean. Very, like, briny flavor. But it's the interesting sort of slightly chewy texture. I quite like it as a vegetable in this state. Obviously, the hard version you can't eat, and if you overcook it, it just turns to goo. But if you take it out at just the right time, like this, I think it's pretty good. Put that in a little bowl as well. Okay, now our little bowls of toppings. Ah, yes, dulce. I should try that sometime. I've never seen it, so I don't know where I would get it, but Nova Scotia is closer to my home than Japan, so it should be, in theory, something I could find. Let's pull out some. Oh, that one's perfect still. And that one has a big old yellow leaf that we will just peel away. Pull out some of our baby bok choys here. I gotta remember to use these. They keep pretty well, but they don't keep forever, so if I forget about them, I lose out on them. I like vegetables that keep, so that I don't have to think about using them all immediately. I should have cut the leaves off before I cut the guys in half, because the leaves cook differently than the stem bits. And I want the stem bits to go in now. Okay. Back to the stove. The baby bok choys I get at the Asian markets. There's a couple different Asian markets in town, and although the regular supermarkets have baby bok choy, they're always like really oversized and don't look very good. And when I have bought them, they are bitter. They're overgrown. It's not just that they're full-sized bok choys. It's that they're overgrown baby bok choys. But the Asian markets are really good at having the little small ones, which are perfect. Now these, they come in a big bag like this, and I only use a few at a time. I use like I'm doing now, 4 of them ish at a time. So they can get away from me if I don't eat them quickly. But yeah, they're very nice, and they're pretty reliable in my stores as well. Obviously, your mileage will vary based on your local stores. My pork just beeped, which means it is complete. Instruction book, which I set down right here, says for pork, we're still using the instructions, quick release for everything. So there it goes. It's a noisy beast, that's for sure. It's really easy to do. You just have to flick the little, there's a little toggle on the top that you set to seal when you do a pressure cook. And then when you want to release the pressure, you just flip it back and it immediately starts shooting the steam out into the room. let's make sure I have not burned my baby bok choys. I have not. We've got a nice little... Ooh, those actually look gorgeous. Okay, not too much longer on them because they look gorgeous. But the leafy bits also need to cook. It might take the dryness out of the house. I'm not sure. It's not a ton of steam. It certainly takes the dryness out of the room. Although, it's been real humid lately because it's been so warm. And then it goes beep, 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 like it just did. And then we can unlock it and tell it to stop the timer. So the bok choy middle's got that beautiful color on them. And then I just want the greens to wilt down. And I need a place to catch these as well. We made dinner today. Reheated chicken strips, curry sauce, rice. Nice. Post-surgery. Nice. Well, enjoy. Sounds good. If you ever want to set up a kitchen like mine, first of all, my kitchen is tiny. My stove is 1,000,000 years old. And everything I have, all these fancy things that I have, I got dirt cheap from thrift stores and clearance racks and stuff. This pan we're using, like, this is a nice cast iron pan. My tip for getting cast iron pans, go to a thrift store and look for pans. If maybe they'll have a nice one, but don't be afraid to buy one that's all rusty and corroded. As long as it's not cracked, you can fix rust. I mean, chicken shrimp ramen bowls sounds amazing. Ooh, I steamed my wrist a little bit right there. We have to get the porks out of the liquid because the liquid needs to reduce. Make sure that because normally over the course of 2 hours of simmering, your liquid, your braising liquid would reduce. But since we I mean, thrift stores are where I got all my stuff. My except for the Magic Pot, which I got on a clearance rack at a big box store for like 1/6 of the price. Do I want to put... I do. Okay, one last thing. One last thing, and I'm doing it because in the official recipe that I'm kind of following, they put an onion in the liquid with the meat. And I did not do that. I used some green onion instead. I'm taking the root off, but leaving as much as we possibly can otherwise. Taking the tops off. We're just gonna flat side these onions in the pan, get them seared up, and they can be a decorative element. We'll switch it up. Instead of having green onions sprinkled on at the end, the green onions were in the broth, so they will be part of the sauce. We will have a nearly whole onion here at the end. And that has plenty of time to get nice and charred on the bottom while we work on the meat. Get them both in the little pool of fat on the side. Okay, I'm going to pull out all of our meat. So that I can pour off our liquid. Oop, my chopsticks are cutting into it. Actually, less than I expected. We might have actually wanted to go for the 20 minutes. Too late now. It's actually not too late now. I could put it in for another 5. It would obviously take more than 5 minutes to do that, because it has to repressurize. But here they be. Here they be, and you can. They have a wobble, and I would like to take one of the larger, more cuboid pieces and split it and see what we're working with in terms of its tenderness. I don't know, it definitely comes apart more than it cuts. But I don't think I can just break it with the chopsticks. I think we should have gone for 20 minutes. It's good. It's good, but I think it should be a little bit more fall apart. Can I probably have lost too much liquid from all the steam. Jay, you resubscribed. Or subscribed the first time? I'm not sure. Hold on, let me pull up my other panel. With Prime. Oh my goodness. Thank you so much. Welcome in. You have my emotes, including my favorite one, the little smush. My actual favorite emote. The little smush. Okay. Onions need to sit for a little bit longer. You know what I could do? Okay, no, I know exactly what we'll do. Because I want them to cook a little bit longer, and I need to reduce my liquid. So, I'm actually going to put them in the pot, and they will simmer a little bit while the liquid is reducing. 2 birds, 1 stone. Perfect. That is the perfect solution here. Because we don't have enough. I don't think we have enough time to wind up the pressure pot again for just another couple of minutes. But we have not that one, but we have plenty of time if we're using it for the same thing at the same time. I have no audio alerts enabled at this point, and that's something I just absolutely need to do. I just need to sit down and do the do. Okay. this will be perfect. Because we have to wait on, we're waiting on the rice anyways. And this will help us soften up our pork. Okay. Beautiful, beautiful. Okay, I think, let's see, we've got bok choy, mushrooms, garlic crispies, which are cooled off, so I should test one of them to see how crispy they are. Oh, they're very crispy. They crisp right off my chopsticks. Well, that was a great idea. Oh, that was a great idea. They stick to your teeth a little bit, but it tastes so good. Those onions, I want to be almost black on the bottom. I want them to really char up. And then we're going to boil it pretty aggressively, actually, to try to reduce the broth into more of a sauce. Because again, if you were doing this in the braise, it would naturally reduce over time. But sealed in the pressure pot, it doesn't vent the excess steam. It uses it to pressurize. So you don't lose nearly as much liquid. I will say, the one that I cut for the taste test tastes a lot like pork, but it's got this lovely, gentle, brothy flavor to it. Oop. Our onion is falling apart slightly, which is what I wanted. I'm just gonna keep eating this bit that I got over here. Okay. My rice has started its countdown, so we are getting close to where things will start to come off and assemble. I mentioned earlier, there's no spicy elements to any of this. Do I want to add something spicy? It could be as simple as a drizzle of hot sauce on the top. Or I have some jalapenos. We could slice up a jalapeno, sear it in the pan, and have little bits. But I feel like the way that the meat has come together, it's this sort of a gentle, almost tea-like flavor. I don't want to overwhelm it with something big and crazy. Gonna kick that down a smidge. Fortunately, that's a non-stick pot, so they won't adhere to the bottom while we are boiling them like this. My baby bok choy has cooled off. It needs warming. And I think I'm probably going to throw a scallion on top anyways. The thing calls for chives. I have chives in the front window, but my chive plant is at the stage of winter. It's the stage of winter where my plants start to suffer, and the chive plant I don't think can handle me cutting any pieces off of it right now. So we're gonna let it rest for a bit. I saved seeds from it. We gotta plant seeds soon, actually. I saved a lot of seeds from my herb garden last year. You know what I'm gonna do? We're gonna throw in, when I think these onions are just about where they need to be. Look at the cut side on that onion. Just beautiful. So these onions are just about where I want them to be. We're going to throw the bok choy into the pan one last time just to reheat it before I add it to my finished bowl, which I also need to think about the serving bowl. The classic serving bowl for something like this is a tall-sided, like one of these. A high-sided bowl. And you fill the bottom with rice, and then you sort of mound the stuff up on the top. I suppose you don't need to see the rice, so that would be appropriate. And I have the slightly larger ones. Otherwise, we have our wide, flat bowls. Warder! Hi, welcome in. You are in time for what may be the exciting conclusion. Also, watch your tone, or I'll have my moderators deal with you. Oh my god, and you've resubscribed with Prime. 8 months, damn. Welcome back. You've re-enabled your founder's badge. And I appreciate it. Filling bottoms with rice. Well, you're in time to see me grilling an egg and ruining a soup, which is kind of what we're doing. Let me turn the pot off there. We're waiting for the rice to beep up. We're watching for the soup to reduce in volume a bit. Because it needs to thicken up enough that it can kind of cling to the meat. We don't just want it to be a straight up liquid. And I don't know if you can, it's in the back, so it's hard for you to tell. We've definitely lost some volume. Our porks are sticking out more than they were when I started them in there. Hopefully it also finishes off the middles, which were almost there. I think they could have taken just like 2 more minutes in the pressure cooker and been spot on. That's the issue with the pressure cooker. Variations of just a couple of minutes on that thing can make big differences because of the way it sort of speeds up the process. So yeah, let me get your opinion, since we got people here. Let me get your opinion on bowls by coming over to the table. That's an onion that I split in half, that we are charring the face side of. So I have some slight variations of the same sort of bowl. This one is slightly smaller, this one is bigger but taller, this one is shorter and wider. And then we have bowls like so. A favorite from the Instagram, this one with the olive motif, which goes great with Italian food, but does not really go with rice bowl. Warder votes for green. Our rice is beeping. We have the square guy, who is also made of plastic. I suppose I could make a heap on a plate if I really wanted to. That's 2 votes for green. I could make an official vote, but I'm not going to because I don't care enough. Okay, I guess 2 votes for green. Let's check our onion. Yeah, that's probably about as much as it's going to go. Our braising liquid has reduced quite a bit in the vigorous boil I've given it. It sticks to my spoon just a little bit. Ooh, ooh, that flavor is, wow, the flavor is a lot better even just now. As mentioned, we're gonna hold that. We're gonna hold that in waiting. Those need to be rewarmed. I cooked them a little bit too early, so they're going to be a little bit cold in the bowl, and I want them to be nice and piping hot. So we're gonna just flash them in the pan real quick, right at the end. This stuff is done. I can hear that the tone has shifted to a more harsh bubble. And I almost broke one of them with a spoon, so that's a good sign as well. Okay, I guess we come over here. And we start assembling a bowl of this nonsense. Pot holders got put away, of course they did. Hearing your food while you're cooking it is often very important because it lets you know things like when a cooking food goes from a bubble to a sizzle, it probably means that you've cooked nearly all of the water out of it, which is usually a time when you want to change up your cook. Ars Novaria. Ars Novaria. Yes, I said that right. Hi, welcome. You're here just in time for the epic plating. So these guys, we want to nestle them on top of our rice. We want to take our, don't want to put that there because that is hot. We'll put those there. We take our bok choy, throw it in the pan just to reheat it real fast. While that's getting reheated, let's grab one of these onions and decoratively put it there. Oop, knock our chopsticks around. The mukbang era, everyone's favorite. I think we're going to have 3 there, and then I think I'm going to perch another one. Oh yeah, you can see my chopsticks just kind of passed through that one. They are definitely tender to the point where I'm just kind of cutting into them accidentally with the chopsticks. We're going to go ahead and do this right over here. Okay, a little bit more bok choy than makes a beautiful plate. But that's fine. I will have a little bit of extra to go with the extra pork belly. Now that the pork belly is cooked, reheating it for other purposes will be very easy. Bok choy, bok choy. Okay. Pan off. So we have a little bit of extra bok choy. We're going to serve this with our kombu strips, our fried shiitake mushrooms, some additional pork belly chunks. Oop, my rice needs to not be on keep warm mode because the lid's open. A couple of additional pork belly chunks to really zhuzh up the top here. Wee Former, you're also here. Hi. Welcome, welcome. Our crisped garlic. Sesame seeds. All right, I was not watching people arriving. People are arriving just in time for the epic conclusion. 2 colors of sesame seeds. Well, I have extra. Come on over. I don't have extra of the whole dish, actually. I only have extra of the meat and a little bit of the vegetables. I used almost all the rice in here. And the sauce that we took that time reducing, I need a drizzle of that over the top of everything. Actually, we can retrieve some of the now well-braised ginger pieces. Get them wedged in there. Okay. Nope. Just a... Oh, no, I'm losing it. I'm losing it. No, I'm losing it. Okay. Go back to when I just did that and don't do that. Pro tip. Undo. I got enough in there, but I did spill some. Use a spoon. I even brought the spoon for specifically doing that. Like this. This, by the way, is so delicious. One job. Okay, that is our finished product. Our finished product. Oh, there's a schmutz. There's going to be schmutz everywhere I take this because I got it on the bottom of the bowl. Schmutz. Okay. Bear with me a sec. I'm going to run us an ad while I take the photos in the other room. Stick with me through that. I will talk to the people who are not seeing the ad, but I won't be here, so this is the perfect time to do it. Because the photo station is, of course, in the other room, and it takes a minute or so to do photos either way. So it's the perfect time to run an ad so that it doesn't interrupt us when we're in the tasting process later. That's the... we need the chopsticks for the shot. I also can't read you guys when I'm taking photos, so behave. Oh, notifications on my tablet, which of course it's set to vibrate, so it goes vibrate, 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 ruins the photos. Oh my god, why are there so many notifications? I need to just delete Twitter from my tablet, because they are always Twitter notifications. Okay, let's try splitting one of these guys with our chopstick. They're still just slightly... Didn't work quite as well as I had hoped. So I'm coming back. 4 seconds on the ad. Perfect timing. And you guys are back. So I tried pinching it in half with the chopsticks just to see if it would work, and it doesn't quite. They're not... Again, I would have probably given it 5 minutes in the slow cooker, or not slow cooker, in the fast cooker. Next time, we will make a note for 20 minutes in the pressure pot. But that's neither here nor there. What's here and what's there is it is time to taste and tell and taste. And the main event is, of course, that ginger off there. Get off there, ginger. Main event is, of course, this meat that you can just, but not super easily, but just barely pinch apart with a pair of chopsticks. So it is right on the edge of being the tenderness I was shooting for. The tenderness I was shooting for was actually just like pass through it like butter, but not quite to the point where it just falls apart, which is really hard to hit. It's a really, really specific point, and it's tricky to... Sorry, the flavor overcame me while I was talking. So, what we have here, the pork. So because our broth, because our braising liquid was such a light flavor overall, the pork is very pork forward. It's not, the flavor of the pork isn't disappearing really into the background. It's just like you get this gentle wash of the soup flavor with the pork. Yes, I growl when I hate things. That's a... But, so, it's not hovering up the taste of the pork. It just tastes like really well cooked pork. With this gentle, this gentle accompaniment of the soup flavor. Oh man. I have to control myself and not just gobble down all of those things, because that was a pound of meat there. I can't eat all that in one go. Our little kombu is here for texture. Nice and chewy, not much taste. Let's try this piece of ginger. Oh, the ginger has more texture than I thought it was going to, and more spice. 15 minutes in the pressure, and the ginger is still very gingery. I'm glad we added extra then, because I guess it doesn't extract quite as easily in the pressure pot as it would in the 2-hour slow simmer. I already tasted these garlic crispies, but oh, hear that crunch? They're just right. They're toasty, but not acrid. They're crunchy, which is the only thing in here that's got a crunch to it, which is very nice. I was also interested in trying the mushrooms on their own. They're super mild. When you extract shiitake mushrooms into a broth like that, they do lose some of their flavor. Or rather, they put it in the liquid. So the ones that the pieces that you're left with are a little bit understated, but they're not bland. They still taste like shiitake mushrooms. It's like kind of an understated, mild shiitake mushroom. And that's all of our individual components except for the bok choy, which I bet you is going to taste like bok choy. It's still got a good tender crisp to it. It picked, oh boy, okay. It picked up a lot of the pork fat. The bok choy definitely picked up a lot of the pork fat. Oh my God, Warder, dropping a bomb of subs. You got Cybertrez, Schnapsity, Sir Chunks, and Burkabork. I know all those people. They're here semi-regularly. You hit a bunch of... Thanks so much. I appreciate it. That's another thing I need to make, is an alert, so that, I don't know, air horns and air raid sirens and, I don't know, screaming goats go off when Warder specifically gives exactly 4 subs into the... You know what I mean. Okay, it's time to stop beating around the bush with all these random bits and pieces. And get a bigger spoon and have a nice scoop of everything in one, and to really go at it. Watch for the top of my head. Okay. 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 Damn it, I said okay. Okay. That's pretty good. It's interesting. It's a bunch of fairly light flavors. Even the pork, with all of its greasiness, when combined with all the rest of it, this does not taste greasy or heavy at all. It's light. It's the whole thing is sort of infused with the flavor of the broth of the savoring liquid, like I said earlier, it's like a savor, like we're making a tea. It's like a savory meat tea, which I suppose is what a soup is, but the flavor is understated and gentle, which is more like a a tea compared to like what I think of as a soup, which is typically a much heavier flavor. I'm quite impressed. No single thing leaps out at me, even when I take a big chunk of meat and do a big bite like that. No single thing leaps out at me. We've done a really good job of making all the elements kind of play nice together. Watch the top of my head. There it is. Mmm. What we do have is a roller coaster of textures. This is every texture. From crunchy, to crispy, to chewy, to just melt in your mouth tender, to the nice fluffy rice underneath. All the bits and pieces, they're all I like it. I like it. I'm not going to say it's my favorite thing ever, but it's definitely a very good use of the pork belly, which I think if I didn't have, someone sent me this recipe. I think if I didn't have this, I would have ended up with a much saltier and much heavier flavored result. This didn't make it any healthier, but it kind of lightened it up. And I'm actually glad I didn't add anything spicy to this. I think that would have, because it's got this sort of gentle delicateness to it. I think adding a bunch of spice to it would have ruined its balance. But yeah, I guess if you want to give this a go, you don't need the magic pot for it. You just replace the part where I put it in there and set it to pressure cook for 15 minutes with put it in a pan and simmer it for 2 hours. That's where the difference is. Yeah, I'm not sure what else to say about it. I don't even feel like I need to add anything. I'm just gonna eat it as it. Like, nothing needs to be sprinkled over the top. Nothing other than the sesame seeds, which we already did. It doesn't need any more green onion. No, I think. Therefore, I am. I think we're good. Which I guess means it's time to ship you guys off. Because all I'm going to do now is sit and shovel this thing into my face. So let's pop me back up to my main face. And let's see who's on. Who's on? Anybody have a recommendation? Last time we had a nice recommendation because Chemical was watching and sent us off in a fun direction. Not a ton of people on right now. What's Rusty Rhymes doing? Rusty Rhymes is running an ad. Cooking something. They've been at it for an hour. What do you think? Do we want to run off on more cooking or just get dropped off on something unrelated? We could go see Yed. Yed's been in here. We could go see Yed playing Subnautica. Well, in lieu of recommendations, oh, Jay votes for Yed. I guess we'll go with Yed. The Yed. So let's go say hi to Yed, who's playing Subnautica, which I have not played, but I've watched many other people play it, so caution. It's a game about being lost in the ocean with alien fish. That's general. The general gist of it. I don't know how far into it he is. I guess we'll find out. Yed's good people. Yed's been in here a few times. You may have seen him. You may have seen me in his chat, and you may have seen both of us somewhere else at the same time, because that happens a lot. Oh, is he on crowd control? That's going to be chaotic nonsense. Okay, so chaotic nonsense. I don't have a raid message. Let's make one up real quick. I always say jovial raid with the little face, this guy. And if you don't have my little face, pick your favorite little face to go with it. Like this one. Oh, I'm glad you made it too. I'm always happy to see people show up. I never announce these in advance. I should do that more often. Here's our countdown. We're almost done, so I'm just going to say goodbye. And then I'm going to push stop streaming.